the gift that just keeps giving. CJI2, more controversy, more drama in the space. This morning, Craig Jones, billionaire investor, rescinded his offer to pay out New Wave $1 million in a consolation prize for the controversial loss in the main event of CJI2. And Gordon Ryan's crashing out over it. It's been so much shit he wrote, I haven't even been able to digest all of it, so we're going to do it for the first time here. But that is not all. That is not all, folks. We got Derek Moneyberg, basically Joe Rogan, asking Gordon Ryan about Moneyberg on the JRE Experience Fight Companion. We got Brian Ortega with some shocking news about how he ended up fighting Aljamain Sterling after passing out twice during his weight cut. So we got to talk about that. We got to talk about is Andrew Tate versus Darren Till all but booked for December in boxing for Misfits? We about to find out, but I think that might be the case. Canelo Crawford, anyways, fighting this weekend. Lots of good stuff. We got Noche UFC. We'll break down all that card as well, although it's a little bit of a lackluster card. John Jones trying to stay relevant after retiring. I mean, he's looking sad out here. Ariel Helwani just revealed some fucking really embarrassing details if true. And honestly, I'm going to believe Ariel. I'm going to believe Ariel on this one. I think he's telling the truth. Stay tuned for that cliffhanger. SD Dumas, $13.96 in his bank account amid ongoing legal battles. He last fought, I believe, in like March or April. Shortly after that, he got arrested. So he did get a fight booked on short notice in June, and it didn't work out because he still had an ankle monitor on, and the fight was too short of notice to get it off. He will be getting the ankle monitor off before this fight, if not already. That interview, pre-fight interview, live on the channel, so just go tap in with that. Let me see anything else on the topics for today. Low on the totem pole, you know, Strickland and Pereira sparring, back training together. Fighting nerds, are they washed? And then Imavov, is he next? So let's go. I'm live for Contender. I might as well just stay live for like 4 hours, huh, Soda Pop? Shit, I got the dono from Soda Pop. Let's go. Perry Punch is live for Dana White Contender. That's right. I'm here. And I guess, you know, we're going to stick around for the Contender Series too. Hopefully there's some good fights on tonight. Now, I think we'll just get right into CJI2. Billionaire backer rescinds offer to pay New Wave $1 million consolation prize for second place. Here's the quote. B Team won. The judges made the right decision, and New Wave doesn't deserve $1 million. Before I really get in on this topic, I just want to hear my sound on my how it's coming through real quick. So give me a second because I switched over to a new mic. Just give me 1 second. Okay, let's go. The audio is actually sounding great. I haven't been using this fucking mic for the hottest minute because I thought it wasn't working, but it actually works. I just didn't know how to use it. All right. So we're getting into this now. Here's the main quote. I'll read to you. This is like the main decision maker, but look what the billionaire investor wrote. And he also issued a statement today as well, so we'll read all of this right now. But he goes, I did not know about clause 4.2 of the contract. The explanations in the rules meetings, which I later got access to and personally watched, or New Wave's argument immediately after the event, not even mentioning the tiebreak rules, I jumped the gun before knowing all of the facts. In some ways, I feel actively misled, and now that I know them, I think B Team won. The judges made the right decision, and New Wave do not deserve 1 million, nor do they have any claim to overturn the decision. So congrats to B Team. My apologies to Miha, the judging team, and CJI, and now I'll go back to sitting down and shutting the F up. So 4.2, clause 4.2 of the contract here is one of the main things, which we will eventually get into. But Miha, one of the judges, he's like they're portraying him as a really smart guy. So we'll see. But Miha's one of the judges. He's also like a black belt and all that shit. So he knows, jiu-jitsu, but they're claiming he's on Craig's side. Let me see here. Shout out to Dylan Budka. Hey, SD mentioned him in our interview too, but he didn't give him too much shine. Dylan Budka's coming back to the UFC. Mark my words. Mark me and Soda Pop's words. Okay, so here's the full little statement that the CJI investor gave before we go ahead and watch the video, because there's a video as well. Let me see real quick. Yeah, so this will be here. Need Budka and SD to make up. I don't know, Soda Pop. SD's over here accusing Budka of steroid use now. That fucking beef may never end. I was thinking about making a clip out of that, but I was like, nah, fuck it. I'll leave them be. I'm just going to show you. We are also going to watch this. Oh, shoot. Wrong one. We're also going to watch this. So stay tuned. We will be tapping in on Craig's video statement. This was issued, which then in a way prompted this. So here we go. We're going to start with this, and then I think this will make more sense. All right. So it goes, I'll keep this brief, anything but brief here, but he's going to keep it brief. I'll keep this brief and discuss only the key points that matter, although there is a lot more I could mention that adds to the case. Bullet point 1. If 5 double eliminations occur, or any such instance where each team's final athletes are double eliminated, the team with more individual wins by judge's decision wins. Bullet point 2. If tied on scorecards, the team whose athlete won the final bout wins. If the final bout is a draw, the win goes to the team whose athlete last won a non-draw bout. So again, here's what I'm going to say. I already broke this down in a previous interview, but this is the best way to explain it, right? Before we even get onto this, I haven't even really read all of this because it's so much. I actually did read it, but barely comprehended it. Okay, so bullet point 1, if 5 double eliminations occur, correct? Or any such instance where each team's final athletes are double eliminated, the team with more individual wins by judge's decision wins. In my opinion, this right here is a wrong answer. It's a typo. It doesn't belong in here, because if 5 double eliminations occur, you do not just instantly, right, go to the team with the more individual wins by judge's decision. Because if 5 double eliminations occur, okay, and the scorecards, let's just say one team had 2 wins by 10-8, and then another team had 3 wins by 10-9. Well, then the team who won the 2 10-8 rounds matches would actually win it. So this one is wrong. This bullet point number 1 is wrong. It's being, it's muddying up the waters here, but just take it from me. Bullet point 1 isn't correct. 5 double eliminations would not go instantly to the majority of people who won, right? 5 double eliminations, the preceding step is go to scorecards. If the scorecards dictate a winner, then the result is final with that winner. However, if the scorecards don't dictate a winner, i.e. resulting in a draw, then it goes to the winner of the final bout. And if the winner of the final bout was a draw match, then it goes to the winner of the last bout that wasn't a draw. So it's a big tongue twister. You gotta, maybe replay that a couple times. But believe me when I tell you, I can confidently tell you right now, bullet point number 2 is correct. And I will read it real quick. Again, if tied on scorecards, that's where it goes. That's the preceding step. If tied on scorecards. So this bullet point number 1 ignores that. The team whose athletes won the final bout wins. If the final bout is a draw, the win goes to the team whose athlete last won a non-draw bout. It doesn't get any more simpler than that. So the fact that the investor is citing this first, it is kind of telling. And, I was able to decipher this the next day once I saw what Gordon was posting. Moving on. The first bullet point has New Wave winning. The second has B team winning. This is an inconsistency in the rules and why I thought New Wave had a case for being the winner. However, key information was omitted in the arguments made by New Wave. The one piece that matters is this from athletes' contracts. 4.2. Athlete acknowledges and agrees that any inconsistencies or matters not specifically addressed in the CJI rules will be resolved, determined, and or nominated at the sole discretion of CJI. So that is kind of a bland little blanket statement. I mean, that basically just says you could do whatever you want to do, if I'm not mistaken. 4.2, athletes acknowledge that any inconsistencies or matters not specifically addressed in the rules can be resolved and determined by the sole discretion of CJI, whoever that is, right? Whoever CJI is. Is that Craig Jones? Is that the Invitational? Clearly, it's them too. Or the judges who are employed by Craig, because you got to keep in mind, right? The UFC doesn't employ judges. They are provided by the athletic commission. Craig Jones employed the judges, which is one of Gordon's reasons why he didn't want to compete here. So when you say the sole discretion of CJI, I mean, it does kind of factor in the judges, because are the judges CJI? They are employed by CJI. With that being said, I don't think that this really even needs to be said. I think you just go, although I think that it needs to be admitted that there's a mistake in bullet point 1 that it contradicts, and maybe just say it shouldn't have been here. That's my opinion. Okay, moving on. Aside from this, the intent of Miha, the head judge, and CJI was made clear across all of the rules meetings. On the night of the event, when New Wave were screaming at CJI staff and judges, it was solely about scoring, which has been adequately explained by Miha and Craig in the recent YouTube video. New Wave only latched onto the tiebreak rule inconsistency the next day, indicating even they thought last bout wins during the event. Otherwise, that would have been a key point on the night. So initially when I read this, I wasn't exactly sure what Miha or what the investor was saying, but I understand now. The night of the result, last Sunday for CJI, day 2, New Wave was actually getting pissed off about the scorecards, saying you guys did a fix to make it a draw, right? That's where they kind of were disputing. They weren't saying, oh, we won 3 of 2, we should have won. They didn't dispute that. According to the investor, all they disputed was the fact that the judges' scorecards were fixed in that last fight, right, between Nicky Rod and Luke Griffith. The scorecards were fixed, giving Nicky a 10-8 to force the draw. That's what they were complaining about, and they might have been complaining about Oliveira not getting a 10-8 against Ethan Krenlinston. But they were not arguing the fact that the tiebreaker goes to the winner of the final match, according to this, right? So I'm just breaking it down for you what they're saying here, because I feel like if you didn't keep up with this event, you're never going to understand the language of some of this stuff. So I did not know about clause 4.2 of the contract. The explanations in the rules meetings, which I later got access to and personally watched, or New Wave's argument immediately after the event, not even mentioning the tiebreak rules. I jumped the gun before knowing all the facts. In some ways, I feel actively misled, and now that I know them, I think B Team won. The judges made the right decision, and New Wave do not deserve 1 million, nor do they have any claim to overturn the decision. So congrats to B Team. My apologies to Miha, the judging team, and CJI, and now I'll go back to sitting down and shutting the F up. So that's the main thing. He's citing 4.2, so he's basically almost saying, like, forget this stuff even. He's almost saying, like, forget this stuff, even if there's some, like, contradiction, whatever, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, CJI has discretion of what we're going to follow. So sure, they contradict each other, but CJI could choose which one they want. So it is what it is. In my opinion, CJI chose the right one. In my opinion, CJI chose bullet point 2, and that's the right one. If CJI chose bullet point 1 and that behooved their team winning, I would be pointing out the same thing. I would say, why did they choose this one? It's this one that really matters. The one tied on the scorecards. So here's a couple edits from the gentleman himself. To be clear, I have not sent 1 million to CJI to pay New Wave and don't intend to. I was going off the partial data they were putting out and my own misunderstanding and or lack of knowledge of the nuances of the rules. Rule meetings, and athlete contracts. It was a mistake to post in the first place, but I'm not going to stick to something based on bad info that isn't in a binding contract. It's not about the money, it's about doing what's right/fair. I'm not going to let a bunch of loud people complaining and threatening get rewarded for that behavior. It would be so much easier for me to pay, just like it would have been so much easier for Miha and the judges to score the last round 10-9, but that's the coward's way out. Honestly, it wouldn't have been easy for the judges to score the last round 10-9 because it was a 10-8, and everybody knows it, except for New Wave. Edit 2. Another argument is that this final bout rule wasn't in the initial contract and athletes never signed to this specific rule change. The contract states this: CJI rules means the submission grappling rule set as included at Annexure A of this agreement and as later amended by CJI and CJI's sole discretion, emphasis included. All teams were well aware of this rule weeks before the event. CJI can amend the rules at any time and doesn't need to get 40 plus signatures to do so. Obviously, this rule addition was not in bad faith. It was done weeks in advance and was communicated to all coaches. All teams were given a set of final rules and given numerous opportunities to clarify anything with Miha. So apparently maybe they did change the rules, but it doesn't matter because they're allowed that right, and apparently they're still going to claim that they gave adequate notice. So I mean, it is what it is. We can go over some comments real quick just to see what the public consensus is. You somewhat know where I stand already with this. What a roller coaster of emotions New Wave must be going through. And after John bought that coat for Tunan's wedding, somewhere in Texas back alley, an unknown assailant in a leather jacket and dress pants was spotted taking a baseball bat to Luke Griffith. Gordon's Instagram stories are about to be the broken keyboard heard around the world. I'm Craig Jones, and I can vouch this is one of our investors. What the fuck is going on? This is the funniest possible outcome. Thank you for all you do. Jumping the gun with 1 million publicly without all the facts, then go, never mind, I was wrong, and we shouldn't spoil them. Also publicly really shows how wealthy this person is, along with how they must frequently been in a position of power. I feel bad for New Wave. Maybe if Gordon shut his stupid mouth, his teammates would have been paid, and that would have been the end of it. I'm not saying Craig was petty enough to try and convince the investor to rescind the offer by responding to the controversy. It was hilarious if true. It would be hilarious if true, but Gordon's incessant crying for days after the fact did not help. Danaher might become the serial killer we always suspected he is, or Gordon is already in his truck searching for him. Good timing dropping this after Gary's wedding as well. Off to Gordon's Instagram we go. Damn, dude's getting married, announcing babies and shit, while thinking they're going to be getting 200K. Ouch. Well, definitely won't be seeing New Wave compete in CJI ever again. In some ways, this is more entertaining than CJI 2. It's okay, New Wave. I am also an anonymous donor. Okay, whatever. Now, Okay, so to go in the chronological order, we should go to Gordon Ryan's Instagram. So just give me 1 second here. Okay, so like I don't know, either Gordon's on a just insane amount of Adderall. I don't know what's going on here. This is a lot to decipher. I'm not even gonna lie to you right now. But let me try to figure this shit out real quick. Okay. I mean, is it better if we go to a story because this shit's kind of cut off? Okay, never mind. Okay, so let's just go ahead and read the caption first. Uh, all the receipts if you have interest. From the dozens of fake Reddit and social media accounts he has of him trying to control the narrative to rumors he spreads about those who have helped him, you can only hide who you really are for so long. The world will slowly realize, just as Z Team realized when they kicked him out, and just as my teammates have realized. Guy didn't even stick around to congratulate the winning and his team on winning the prize at his event, which was 80% less per athlete than it was the year before. By the way, the jiu-jitsu community awakening is beginning. Looking forward to the flow grappling article stating that their baby CJI, who spent an entire 2 years trying to bankrupt them, promised New Wave a rightful 1 million in decision overturn, then turned around and said no. Yeah, let's make that article. P.S. Every post I've made and text I've sent has been run by the team. I'm not speaking for them and inserting myself where I shouldn't be. I'm amplifying the voices of my family who have been wronged, as my friend would be, as any friend would be. Be a best friend and a worst enemy, always. So, I'll read this. I'll fucking oblige Gordon Ryan to read this shit. Something seeding. Again, so right off the bat, I read the word seeding and I almost know what he's talking about. Gordon is already complaining from step one. He thinks that B team should have been seeded basically on the same bracket as, or okay, let me put it like this. Gordon believes Autos and New Wave, the true two favorites, were supposed to be on opposite sides of the bracket, but Craig put Autos and New Wave on the same side of the bracket so that they could knock each other off because he's insinuating new or B team would be strong enough to knock them both off, right? Because if B team was basically underneath one of their brackets, they got to get past them and they got to get past New Wave in theory. So that's the first step with Gordon talking about seeding and all this stuff. He goes, Z Team was given the number one seed, forcing New Wave to face Autos before the finals. We could use Nogi Worlds, ADCC, and other metrics to look at seeding, but let's just use ADCC. For example, Autos had 6 ADCC golds on their team, New Wave had 3. Z Team had 0. Autos is known for submissions, and I could see them being number 1 or 2 seed, meaning that Z Team wouldn't have had an easy path to the finals. So stacking brackets against us was one thing, no problem. We should win anyway. 10-8 rounds. As far as I am aware, the only so he's moving on. When he says 10-8 rounds, this is him switching subject. As far as I'm aware, the only 10-8 round during the event was the last round, the only round that would need to be scored a 10-8 to tie the team score. Criteria for a 10-8 round A bout is to be scored a 10-8 round when an athlete is overwhelmingly dominant throughout the round. Let's break this down. The final round had Nicky Fraud hitting one takedown that took 4 minutes, one guard pass where he held a tight waist for long amounts of time thereafter, and 0 submission attempts. Arguing that this was a 10-8 round would mean that many other matches would also need to be scored 10-8. Now I'm gonna freaking comment real quick because Gordon is so focused, right, on Nicky Rod, but it's both dance partners. So yes, that's what Nicky Rod did, and I want to know this: did Luke Griffith recover from the takedown? Did So you say there's a takedown, right? One takedown. Did Luke Griffith get up from that takedown? The answer is no. Um, did Luke Griffith ever get a takedown of his own in that first 4 minutes? The answer is no. One guard pass. Did Luke Griffith ever recover guard? The answer is no. Okay. Where he held a tie waist for 4 minutes. And then there's also what he's ignoring: 0 submission attempts. There were submission attempts. There was arm triangles and shit like that. There were north-south chokes. So again, he's lying here, to be honest with you. He was attempting submissions. And again, did your guy have submission attempts? So you have one guy doing all this stuff and you have another guy doing nothing. So that's why it was a 10-8 round, okay? Because he wasn't even able to recover anything. If he were to recover, if he were to get a takedown, if he were to have a submission attempt, it wouldn't have been a 10-8. The fact that you have nothing to score for the opposing guy is a big deal, okay? A huge deal. Dorian versus can't hit a move Kredlenstein, for example. Dorian passed multiple times and literally was riding his knee on can't hit a move Kredlenstein's face. So the brackets were clearly bullshit. The scoring was bullshit, and the fake tap was bullshit. We got fucked from seeding to reffing to scoring. In addition to this, he gave Team Autos 2 wild cards while only giving everyone else 1 wild card. He only changed this because he was facing so much backlash from teams that he had to, but only when the rest of the teams were already filled up, making it irrelevant. We were also, to my knowledge, the only team denied the ability to have our own teammate on our team. Crooked Craig wouldn't allow us to put Isaac on our team because he didn't like him. The only other place to get fucked was the contract, so let's get into that. The contract was pretty clear. All rules were explicitly written out in the contract. I had lengthy discussions with the donor who reached out to me initially to get the guys paid. Let it be known that he seemed like a great guy. There was never really any contention between us, except logical contention of contract clauses. He wants to remain anonymous and has been nothing but nice to me. Unless something changes and he starts attacking me, I have no interest in posting our discussions at the moment. It appears to me that he is a nice guy who is just being misled by incompetence and scumbaggery. He initially messaged me that he was sorry and felt that we should have certainly won. He also told me, as well as sent confirmation from CJI, or from Crooked Craig, that the athletes would be paid, and more importantly, that CJI would publicly overturn the decision. So we got a lot of stuff fucking cooking here. Now we're not gonna read all this. Gordon is trying to claim, look at this. Bullet point 1 is a statement in itself. Bullet point 1 has us winning. Bullet point 2 has us losing. So not only was bullet point 2 not in the athlete contract, but it is in direct contradiction to bullet point 1. It is also underneath the contractually bulleted point, meaning bullet point 1 supersedes bullet point number 2. Again, you're going off of technicalities over what's right and what's wrong. Another point that was raised was that the contract does say that CJI can change the rules at its sole discretion. That being said, clause 7.5 clearly states that no variation of this agreement is of effect unless it is in writing and signed by both parties. This means that CJI can change the rules, but it must signed by both parties. People are making the argument that CJI can change the rules for any team for any reason at any time. If this is the case and the hill you're willing to die on, let's do a simple thought experiment. If you think that CJI could change the rules for any reason whatsoever. You're saying that in the finals, Crooked Craig could approach the team and say, I've just decided that Team New Wave will have a handicap. You will now be starting with 4 submissions counted against you, and only Dorian will be eligible to compete. Sorry, guys, we changed the rules at our discretion. Again, I think he's taking it to an extreme here. They're saying before the tournament let up, they could make changes to the rule set if need be. You know, if it wasn't a final set rule set that got sent out initially, if there were rule changes that happened, they'll be notified and they'll let people know. But this is like going to the extreme with as far as what Gordon's saying. If you think CJI can change the rules without athletes signing off on it, and that's the hill you're willing to die on, okay. The entire reason Clause 7.5 was in the contract was so that CJI could not have completely unchecked control and ability to make biased rules whenever they wanted. The rules were specifically stated in the contract, and the contract was not to be changed unless signed by both parties. Gordon basically saying here that the donor wants to do the right thing, but Craig and the guy he has also running the CJI event, Seth, uh, ended up just like getting to the guy and forcing him to not let him distribute the money. Now Gordon's taken away from his brother's win, saying his brother didn't really win. Too funny. We've been over this one. So Gordon says added tie-breaking rules not in contract, slide 9. So he claims these are added in, they're not in the contract. Craig is going to claim that he's allowed to add them in the lead up to the event. Tie-breaking rules not in contract. In the event of 5 double eliminations and no discrepancy in penalties between teams, the winner is the team that won more individual bouts based on judges' decisions according to scoring criteria. If there's a tie in the individual bouts, winning team determined based on judges' decision of team duel as a whole. Slide 11 shows bullet 1 in contract, not bullet 2. Slide 12 to 14, not the entire rule sheet, but shows that rules were clearly stated in full in the contract and that all rules were specifically addressed. I'm guessing these are all the rules. Slide 15 shows clause in question 1.4.2. Athlete acknowledges and agrees that any inconsistencies or matters not specifically addressed in CJI rules will be resolved, determined, and or nominated at the sole discretion of CJI. The tournament shall be contested under CJI rules. Athlete acknowledges and agrees to be bound by and to strictly comply with the CJI rules during the tournament. Acknowledges by execution of this document the athlete has read the CJI rules and agrees to abide by them. So it says shows clause in question 4.2. Slide 15 also shows clause 4.1, which states that the athlete who signed this have to read the rules in the contract. These contracts were signed months in advance. Any rules that were added and not agreed upon in writing, therefore, are null and void. Slide 16 shows clause 7.5 clearly stating that nothing in the contract will be changed unless agreed upon in writing. No variation to this agreement is of effect unless it is in writing and signed by the parties. 17 shows that on 9/1/2025, I made a note in my phone after receiving final confirmation that CJI would officially overturn the decision, and it was a 100% done deal. Slide 18. Just vindicating himself after the investor said that they won. Wow, I'm surprised we were able to get through that. So that's Gordon's clapback. And now we can get into go ahead and get into, let me see here, this part. Craig's response. I feel like we just navigated through a minefield, bro. I was not like looking forward to getting through Gordon's fucking Adderall filled rant. Let me see. Let me pull up. Oh no, it's right here. Okay. We're still going on this topic though, a little bit longer. This is like what sparked, this was before the investor was like, nah, we're not going to pay. So like the investor said, we're going to pay. That New Wave won. Craig was obviously pissed about it. This guy right here is Miha. Again, they portray him as like a genius. So they think he's like a smart guy. And yeah, so Miha's the judge and he's the one who scored that 10-8, I think. And then Craig is just going to give his 2 cents as well as far as like the seeding and the way the matches were scored as far as 10-8s and things like this. So we'll go ahead and get into this one.
All right, we're going to address the perceived controversy of CJI 2. So guys, first and foremost, there was no bias shown in the lead up to the event whatsoever. The wild cards, I had one team complaining about a wild card and 2 wild cards, things like that. Guys, if I was going to be biased to my former team, DDS New Wave, I would not have given them Mika Galvao. I gave them Mika Galvao, who, in my opinion, is the #1 grappler in the world. If I had any stake in a personal hatred for them and I was invested in them losing this event, I would not have given them Mika Galvao. I want that to make that abundantly clear. Also, they did complain about Atos receiving 2 wild cards, so what did I do? Gave everyone 2 wild cards. Which team then took a 2nd wild card? Wagner Hosha. Now, to explain the brackets, which some people complained about, 2 teams in the entire tournament had 2 wild cards. Atos and New Wave. So it was in my...
So Gordon saying that they gave what's it called, Autos, the only two wild cards. Craig is saying that New Wave had two wild cards also. I think it was Victor Hugo, and he just said Wagner Rocha.
In my opinion, the most fair option to put them on the same side of the bracket. What did I do in return for that? Well, I asked John Danaher who the fourth seed was. In my opinion, it would have been Australia.
Just to also add to it, so that's why he said he put them on the same side of the bracket, because when you're getting two wild cards in the tournament, bro, like you got the advantage, so you're not going to receive the ultimate advantage, which is being on opposite sides of the bracket. You get a little advantage compared to everyone else with two wild cards. You got to face off against each other. We can't have both you guys running the shit. On top of that, it's like, bro, this is B Team's tournament. Craig is like the owner. They got the reigning CJI 1 champion with Nicky Rod. I think there is complete, more than enough precedent, even without the whole wild card argument, to put Nicky Rod on the other side. On top of it, it was the beef of all beefs. You run it, bro. You run it.
Australia or Daisy Fresh. John gave a summary of each, and he thought Daisy Fresh was the fourth seed. Instead of putting Daisy Fresh in the bottom position, I gave B Team first round, who John Danaher thought was the perceived fourth seed. Obviously the top three seeds, B Team, Atos, New Wave. If you use two wild cards, you're on the same side. And I gave each of those teams, Atos and New Wave, the lowest seeded teams, which was the Americas, and it was Team Europe. On the other side, B Team, first round, give them Daisy Fresh, who John Danaher thought was the fourth ranked seed. And then obviously we had Team Australasia and 10th Planet in the bottom. That is my justification for the bracket. Had New Wave not utilized the second wild card, which in my opinion is a massive advantage, two wild cards, that would have changed how I bracketed it. So there is no bias in the bracket at all. I made that shit hard for B Team. New Wave.
So Craig's actually claiming that if New Wave didn't use that second wild card, he probably would have put New Wave and Autos on opposite sides of the bracket. Do I believe him? I don't know.
Again, and I cannot emphasize this enough, were given Mika Galvao by me. Massive, massive advantage. Now, let's talk about why we use the 10-point must system. The 10-point must system rewards dominance and submission attempts. We use that so that it's not just match 1, match 2, match 3, win to this team, win to this team. We don't want people to coast to victory. We want to reward people for trying to dominate and finish their opponents, right? Everyone's confused because they were like, wait a minute, if we go to the final, New Wave won 3 matches, B Team won 2. Well, guess what? In a UFC title fight, you can win 3 rounds and still lose the fight. If you win 3 rounds by 10-9 and lose the next 2, 10-8, you lost the fight. You don't get to go there and say, well, I won 3 rounds. No, you lost the fight. If you win the first 3 rounds 10-9, you then win a 10-8, then you win a 10-9, well then you have a 47-47 scorecard. We did this again so that you would push the pace, try to dominate, and most importantly, try to submit your opponent. If your opponent was difficult to submit, we wanted you to be rewarded. The only caveat to that was if there was a massive size discrepancy, which did occur, the maximum amount you could win by would be a 10-9. I didn't want a Victor Hugo against a Diego Pato, where Diego literally potentially too small to do anything. Not saying he couldn't have a chance of victory, but I didn't want that to be too unfair. So I wanted that.
And I don't see a lot of people complaining about this rule by any means, but I think it was a good rule to be put in place anyway, like a thoughtful rule. Look, we got these big guys going up against little guys. If that potentially happens, no 10-8. Most they can win by is 10-9. So I like that.
To be limited at a 10-9. We added that rule in. That was probably the only rule I changed at any later date, and that was still added very, very early. Now let's talk about the tiebreaker conditions, all right? So CJI won. We did 3 5-minute rounds for regulation periods. What I didn't want people to do was go out and win the first 2 clearly 10-9, and we did open scoring in that, so you would know you were up 2 rounds. I did not want you to be able to coast to victory in the last round and not care. If you got 10-8'd in the last round, that, my friends, is a draw. And the tiebreaker condition in a draw scenario is that the last round wins. Everything I did in shaping, molding the rule set for this event was that you could not just get up in a perceived way and then coast to victory. We wanted to weight the last round heavy. Again, that precedent was set at CJI 1. The tiebreaker condition, all the coaches understood this from the very first meetings. It was always the case that we would do an accumulation of scores that would be revealed at the end. In the scenario at CGI 2 of Atos versus Europe, they didn't come out and say Andre Galvao wins 4-1. No, they read the scorecards. Each judge read the scorecards, their scorecards. They had to judge each round according to the 10-point must system. The 10-point must system is
It's almost like even if there was a mistake in the fine print, right, of the original athlete agreement, the way the entire tournament was ran from start to finish, like Craig's kind of saying, the scorecards were always a thing. So there's no point in going, oh, 3 guys won, 2 guys lost, this team won. That's not how it goes. So I don't know what, Gordon's over here dying on that hill, which is fine, but it's just like, it's never going to work, bro, because the whole tournament, they were saying, like he just said, Andre Galvao wins 48, 46 type shit. So the 10-point must system low-key worked. Exactly what Craig wanted to happen with it. It worked. And rightfully so, bro. There were barely any stalling calls and shit like that during this tournament, so you need something to level out the fucking boring playing field.
It's useless if it's just match by match, or had we done that at CGI 1 round by round. That is the reason the 10-point must system was in there. And the reason the tiebreaker condition was applied to CJI 2 was it is a team event. Each match is a round, like a UFC title fight. So you can obviously win 3 rounds in a team series and still lose or go to a draw. Again, I cannot emphasize this enough. When Team Atos beat Team Europe, which was 5 double eliminations, we announced the cumulative scorecard. We did not announce 4-1. So for everyone confused in the final, and I understand there's a lot of personal tension and people think there's perceived bias, whatever. New Wave won 3 of those rounds. But according to the scorecards, which Miha is going to explain why he scored it the way he scored it, he's going to justify whatever, well, not everyone, but a lot of people think, oh, there's something fishy go on there. There were coaches like John Danaher was instrumental in the rules meetings. He was instrumental in changing some of the rules, such as when you'd be penalized starting in a half guard position. John Danaher understood the rules. John Danaher coached GSP in many title fights. He understands the 10-point must system, I would say, better than any of the other coaches in this entire event because of his history with the UFC and his history in 5-round title fights. The tiebreaker condition was obvious and understood by all the coaches. And in the tiebreaker condition is that last round is very, very important. As Lachlan Giles suggested in his video, that's why you put an anchor at the end in a close team series, because
in a way here, Danaher should have warned his team, his athlete, look, man, this is the last round. We are ahead, but you got to be careful not to get 10-8'd, because if anything happens as far as like a draw or something like that, the winner of this match is going to win the tournament due to a tiebreaker. So go out there, basically don't get submitted, but also don't get 10-8'd, you know? And really, Luke Griffith clearly just performed to not get submitted. He didn't recognize the situation of potentially getting 10-8'd, the bout resulting in a draw, and then the winner of the last bout deciding it. Maybe because they thought Oliveira 10-8'd Krenlinston, which I would disagree with. But hey, that's one of the biggest fucking debates of this whole tournament. Did Oliveira 10-8 Krenlinston?
The last round, in the event of a draw, will decide which team wins or advances. Now, Miha is going to explain to you why he scored, and not just him, but unanimously all the judges scored the final the way they did.
Yeah, so I was the head judge for this competition, right? When it comes to the judging, the way that it worked, by the way, it's a gig that I don't particularly want to do anymore. I resign. It was not worth it at all. I would pay a lot of money to not have John Danaher hate me for the rest of his life, but I digress. When it comes to the scoring, we have a 10-9, a 10-8, and a 10-7 round. It was largely the same team that judged CJI won. And we did basically a training camp leading up to these to the event, where we got together and we watched a lot of matches in other tournaments and judged them based on the criteria. On the day, the way it works is when the round ends, there's a tablet by SmoothComp that opens up the scoring, and within 10 seconds, but normally in 5 seconds, we punch in the score and submit it independently from each side of the octagon. So the fact that we all arrived, sorry, the pit, I'm sorry. Force of habit. There's no copyright there, hopefully. Yeah, so we all punched that in independently, and the fact that the scores were unanimous shows that we all saw it the same way, and that we were pretty consistent with how we were scoring in training as well. So when it comes to the Dorian versus Ethan match, one last thing that I'll say, the way it works is there's 10-10 in the middle, which we obviously can't score because it's a 10-point must system. And then the match swings to 10-9 into 10-8, very rarely into 10-7, and then it moves based on what's happening with the judging criteria, which are initiating effective action, close submissions, and dynamic actions, and then lastly, positional control and dominant control. So with the Dorian and Ethan match, I went back and watched it minute by minute, as did all the other judges, and in the first 2 or 3 minutes, Ethan was just defending with his guard. Dorian was working his passing. It was dominant on Dorian's part, but you don't really get into 10-8 territory until you pass the guard, which Dorian then did, and he was basically surfing on Ethan for 2 minutes, and he got firmly into 10-8 territory. At that point, if the round ended there, we would have all scored a 10-8. And then he got close guard back, and he went for...
Shit, I was muted. I was just going to say, I agree with what he's saying up to this point. You know, as far as, like, Oliveira passing Ethan's guard, and then, like, getting into side control, mounting him and shit like that. He was... Thanks, Soda Pop. Appreciate it. He was in 10-8 territory. If Ethan would have never, you know, recovered or mounted any type of, like, defensive or offensive, you know, tactics for the rest of the match after Oliveira passed his guard, you know, and just basically ran through it, then it would be a 10-8. But as he's about to say probably, towards the end of the match, Ethan made it a little bit more even. He recovered closed guard. And he threatened with a little bit of a submission attempt, you know, grabbing for ankles and shit like that. And he made Oliveira react enough. So that's where he's going to say he earned it back to a 10-9. And I fully agree. But let's just see what he has to say.
Like a Z-lock from close guard, which is by no means a conventional or a common submission. I was actually familiar with it because my friend Shane Fishman got injured with it by Francisco Lowe in a tournament. And what I saw, and I'm just speaking for myself, but I think all the judges saw it similarly, is Dorian go down in pain. It looked like he screamed, and then Ethan went for the back, ended up in close guard. Now, that was still a 10-8 round at that point, but for the remaining 3 minutes, Ethan was attacking the upper body. He had a body triangle for some time. He opened it up into like normal close guard and looked to attack. What we were looking for was for Dorian to stand up, which he started at one point. He put his hands in the armpit to stand up and open the guard. Had he opened the guard and started passing, he would have gone back into 10-8 territory. But with about a minute to go, the round becomes a 10-9 round because of the lack of progression on top, and because Ethan was able to slow down the match and initiate some action with upper body control. People say that the body triangle from close guard is a stalling position, which is, you could argue that, but if you're getting stalled on from a neutral position like bottom close guard, that doesn't make you overwhelmingly dominant anymore, which is why we all scored it a 10-9 round. And I think as more and more people went back and looked at it, they got to that same conclusion as well. And then the last round between Nicky and Luke, the controversy in the score.
I get what he's trying to say as far as closed guard being a stalling position, but at the end of the day, closed guard is the beginning of a lot of submissions too. From closed guard, you have arm bars, you have triangles, you know what I mean? You have sweeps, but I mean, it all starts from a closed guard. You got to contain your opponent at some point, right? And then from the closed guard, you start working some other shit. So, you know, it goes step by step. Like without achieving a closed guard for a little bit of a period of time, how do you expect to move into other things? Like, like with your opponent passing you and shit like that. Let's put it like this, right? Your opponent is in side control. Okay, how are you supposed to do anything before you recover closed guard? Do you understand my point now? So like, you're gonna penalize the guy for recovering closed guard. That's step one after getting fucking mounted or getting put in side control. That's step one to starting to mount your own offense again. If you can't fucking recover guard, you're never gonna mount any offense. And where did Ethan threaten what he calls a Z hook or something like that? Fucking from the closed guard. So closed guard isn't really a stalling position. You can use it as a stalling position, but at the end of the day, that's like bread and butter to start working offense if you're on your back and you're not attacking heel hooks.
There, I believe, is that for the first 3 minutes it was an engagement on the feet where they were both kind of like trading throw-bys and not that much happened. But then Nicky got the takedown immediately past the guard and was controlling through dominant positions. In a minute-by-minute breakdown, when we get to the last minute, is when he crosses into 10-8 territory by attempting submissions. He was looking for like a Dars/Armin north-south choke, which looked to be getting a reaction out of Luke. And then at the end, he was initiating action, trying to get the submission with a triangle attempt from out, which then led to Luke getting back to guard, but it was because Nicky was initiating action and going for submissions, which is what is.
And it wasn't closed guard. It was not really guard. It was like, it was guard but not closed guard. It was like a weird one. Like, I think he only had like one butterfly hook in too, Luke Griffith, if I'm not mistaken. He didn't even have like a double butterfly hook, which would constitute, if you have double butterfly hooks or full guard closed, then okay. But he literally had like one fucking foot on one leg on the outside, the other one butterfly hooked. Like, Nicky was about to pass that shit again if it wasn't 10 seconds left in the round. And I just want to note, he says he acknowledges too, Nicky threatened with a north-south choke, and he also fucking went from that after Luke Griffith started defending it. He went from that to side control and was trying to get like arm triangles and shit like that, maybe potentially setting up an arm bar or like a transition to an arm bar. He was working, and then he ended up in not closed guard, but that little open one butterfly hook guard. So, I'm saying stuff right, and then this guy's fucking validating his thoughts. So I'm just saying, like, we both kind of agree. Make of it what you will, but you got Gordon in left field saying Nicky attempted 0 submissions, like Oliveira should have been a 10-8. And then before I even got on here, I basically said the reasons why the other things happened and why certain things didn't happen. And here he is explaining himself, and it's the same reason why I fucking gave.
Criteria in the rules that we look for. So I'm sure that all of the judges had the 10-8 in there by a close margin, but that was the correct thing to score. I would have scored it if Luke was doing that to Nikki, if this situation was completely reversed, because there's no benefit for us judges who have been impartial from the first competition to judge anything that we don't believe should be scored. So that's it.
I'll just say
ready to now enter the alley with.
I will just say that is the problem partially with, employing people and paying commentary, paying judges to take part in your event as the owner, having a team, although Craig isn't fully affiliated anymore, but all these things are, this is what it's called ethics. It's called ethics in journalism. There's some things, this is why Ariel Helwani refuses to get paid by a broadcast that he works for. For example, if he were to go cover Misfits boxing, Ariel Helwani will turn down the offer if Misfits is cutting him a check, because he feels like his ethics are being compromised, or at least you can argue that, right? And say, Ariel just big upped the event and, complimented the event to the highest degree because they're paying him. That's what we all say about Joe Rogan at times and DC and these guys. And as a journalist, when you are, supposed to somewhat be impartial, you can't be getting paid by the promotion. You need to be getting paid by like a third party type thing. So I don't know who pays Ariel, but maybe it's like Dazn or something like that. Like maybe Dazn employs him, or one of these other companies that kind of is affiliated with Misfits, but it's not a check getting cut directly from Misfits. Even Ariel's been open. He says like when he was on Fox Sports, he was getting paid by the UFC because UFC was paying Fox Sports to give him the money. But even Ariel says that was bad because the money needed to be coming from Fox Sports, not the UFC to Fox Sports to him. Although he fucking switched it up in his mind thinking it's fine, it's just trickling through. I can technically look at it as Fox Sports paying me. But even he doesn't like that he took that money back in the day because it's compromising again. So putting it out there for the next CJI, if you want some of this stuff to not be happening, you can't employ the judges, Craig. You got to find like a commission or something like that to figure out maybe a different way to, employ them as well as the commentary. Now we got a few other topics on hand. Let me see here. So I think this is a great topic to get into. And I got the screenshot, so give me a second here. We're going to get into Gordon Ryan, since we're on the topic anyway. We're going to get into Gordon Ryan getting asked about Derek Moneyberg's fake black belt on Joe Rogan's latest episode of Fight Companion. And guess who the voice of reason was? Give you a second to think about your guess. Brandon fucking Schaub. So, and Joe was like trying to shut down Brandon, like, hey, don't be questioning Gordon too much, blah, blah, blah. Nah, Brandon was keeping it a buck, bro. And Joe proved himself once again as spineless. And like he just likes to appeal to authority. I don't know what his deal is. Okay, I believe it's right here. 1 second here. Here it is. We're already ready to go. Okay, we're about to get into it here, but let me read fucking Soda Pop's chat. He goes, thought you were going to say Dylan Budka was the voice of reason. Love you, Mindless Hulk. Dylan Budka. Shout out Dylan Budka, bro. We wish you the best, brother. We wish you the best. I saw him going at fucking, you know who, I won't even mention his name. He doesn't deserve a shout, but you know the fucking X account he was going after. Okay, here it is. Hold on. Sorry. Here it is right here. I will get this right. My apologies.
Then it's a legit. Is there
Matt Arroyo?
big fucking strong?
You always gotta be careful with celebrity belts.
Well, Matt Arroyo. I think
Which
is
one
his
is that?
teacher.
Who's got one that's it's a legit? Is there? Because everybody brings up that Moneybird guy. You trained with him.
Yeah, I'm friends with him.
Gordon.
Derek. Everyone thinks that Derek is going to go out and beat an ADCC champion. It's just
Well,
it's
that's
Paul
not
Craig's
his
about to
thing,
get-
of course.
It's just not.
Paul
that's
Craig's
just
Craig's
not
getting
how,
beat up.
Yeah.
That's not how it's going to work. But I mean, if he trained with like a guy, he's 45 years old, 42 years old. Like if he trained with like a 42-year-old black belt, he'd do fine.
I just want to zero in on that face right there. If he trained with a 42-year-old black belt, he'd do fine. Hang on one more time.
That's all you need.
Like if he trained with like a 42-year-old black belt, he'd do fine.
And then wait for Joe.
That's all you need to hear.
That's all you need to hear. No, don't answer anymore. That's all we need to hear. That's all we need to hear. Don't respond to the idiots in the comments who got no life. Because we all know how Joe Rogan feels about all of his fucking fans, right? We all know how Joe feels about his fans. They were doing this during the fight companion for last week's card. So they were discussing this while Paul Craig was fighting.
Because everybody was like so against
Like,
it
is he gonna
and
go out and
saying
win
that
worlds?
because he's
No.
rich. But here's the thing: if you're rich and you have
Oh,
discipline,
Jesus.
and
That's
did he
it.
KO him?
That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's bad.
that's really bad.
All right, co-main event's coming up.
What was that? That was a weird stoppage.
That's bad. It was bad.
No, not really.
It was really bad.
No. I mean, it like he stepped away.
Yeah.
Oh, it was after the bell.
Well, he just waved it off
Oh,
after
we didn't
the
hear
bell,
the bell. Oh, yeah. They just waved it off. Bukakis had the worst fucking knee injury I've ever seen in the UFC.
Really?
Khalil Roundtree side kicked him in the knee sideways and down. See if you can find that, Bukakis.
I guess when it comes to giving that rich guy the black belt, I think for people that do jiu-jitsu, it's like there's different levels to black belt. Like if you're never going to compete, and he got in what, 2 years?
It's 3.5.
So let's okay. Joe says instantly 3. Joe, shut the fuck up, bro. We're not asking you. You got a fake black belt too. Now back to it. Joe, he just tried to say like, no, it's just like people started thinking like because he, he's rich and stuff like that, and he got the black belt in 3.5 years, it can't happen, bro. What the fuck are you saying? Like, go look deeper into this before you start speaking. He's been paying Lyoto Machida, Glover Teixeira, Gordon Ryan, Mikey Musumeci. Like, if you respect that type of shit, get the fuck out of here, bro. Nobody respects people paying their way through martial arts training. Like, and you can't even see that. You're just going to defend them for whatever reason, like, because you don't want to talk shit on your platform. Bro, people who are afraid to talk shit, low-key piss me off. Low-key piss me off. You're just going to be a fucking weird-ass positive person 24/7. Nobody wins like that. Speak the damn truth. So Joe trying to play it down like, oh, people think because it was 3.5 years he can't do it. People think because he's rich he can't do it, but he trains every day. He's got the work ethic. He's got the work ethic, though. No, he's got the money to fucking pay guys to come train him. I've been hearing Gordon's gonna say here, oh, this guy attends a class and then he schedules private lessons with like 3 different guys back to back to back. Listen, bro, I've trained before. You do not get real training in like that without fucking dying. After one practice, if you get put through the real practice just like everyone else, you barely want to do a private after, let alone 2 more privates. But nobody's going to talk about that, right? If you get put through the regular shit, you don't get to justify who you roll with or how many rounds you roll. You're in it for the class, okay? This is my point. And when you're in it for the class, you don't get to say, oh, I'm going to just do technique today, right? You got to do technique and roll. So if Moneyberg were to ever be in a situation where he practices technique and then does 40 minutes of rolling, he would barely ever want to do a fucking private with fucking 3 guys back to back to back after that. You would be completely toast. You're 40 years old. Only 16 and 17-year-olds can train like that in MMA.
That's the
I mean,
thing. It's
first
tough.
of all,
The thing is the
it doesn't
time.
fucking matter. Like, just get better at jiu-jitsu. The belts are irrelevant.
It doesn't fucking matter anyway, though. None of this matters, right? Because in jiu-jitsu, the belts are irrelevant. It doesn't fucking matter because in jiu-jitsu, the belts are irrelevant. But I just opened up a jiu-jitsu school and I fully plan on exploiting the belt system. Does everybody get a black belt then? It's irrelevant, he says.
Good point.
It's like
Wait, explain irrelevant.
Joe says good point because Joe has a fake black belt. Good point. Belts are irrelevant. Good point. Joe, you got a black belt. You don't even fucking train in the gi. That shit's fake. The people who get black belts in no gi, that ain't it, bro. That ain't it. Look at Demetrius Johnson. He's been doing no gi for years. Is he a black belt? Absolutely not. You know why? Because you only get the belt rankings in a gi.
Like, there's just focus on getting better at jiu-jitsu. The belts are irrelevant.
Agree. I didn't come up with
but-
the market and give him his black belt. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I didn't give him his black belt either. But if
So quick to let everybody know I didn't give him his black belt, but at the same time, don't worry about it because like just focus on getting better. If he has a black belt, he has a black belt. He's just training anyway. What does it matter? And Joe's gonna bring up Jake Shields now. His appeal to authority is crazy, Joe Rogan.
Shields did it. Jake Shields is very legit.
and
So
but-
if he said he's a black belt, I just take it at face value. I'm like,
No,
he's
I
got-
don't.
Okay, watch this. Watch this.
Oh, Jesus.
Bro, and that's
By the way, Brandon Schaub instantly says, I don't take it at face value if Jake Shields gives him a black belt. Joe's just like, oh, you're a doctor. You told me to take this. I'll take this. Oh, wait. Joe doesn't think that, does he? He goes against the doctor's opinion all the time, especially when he's talking about COVID and shit. So why not, right? Appeal to authority or go against the authority here in Jake Shields. Why are you going to like completely appeal to it? I feel like it's because you don't want to get got, bro. You know that if you start calling people fake black belts, you open yourself up to getting
Lil
called,
Round
you open yourself up to getting called a fake black belt.
who's one of the nastiest fucking kickers in the sport.
Ugh.
Knee is shot.
Oh, look at him. He's just laying there in agony.
And you know that's 10 months.
Oh, at least.
Oh,
he
yeah.
had to get it reconstructed. But now, Bukakis has some big-ass legs.
fuck, dude.
Here's the elbow that took Paul Craig out.
Oh, my
Right
God.
behind the ear.
Yeah.
Fuck
Isn't that
you.
crazy how sideways that goes?
Fuck that.
That goes so sideways, dude. It just blew it apart.
Your knees are not made for this
but he
shit.
trains 7 days a week.
Look at this.
Like 4 hours a day.
Who does?
Derek.
That's a lot. That's legit.
Yeah.
Derek Moneyberg trains 7 days a week, 4 hours a day. You tell me if you believe that shit.
Man, if you've got discipline.
with legitimate champions, and he has like some of the best ability to recall information that I've ever seen. Like I can teach him something.
Vaccines.
This guy's got to be on like some type of beta blocker or something. He looks out of it. He looks like he's on like a Xanax. He looks like detached from reality while he's speaking.
Some of the best ability to recall information that I've ever seen. Like I can teach him something.
Vaccines.
I could teach him something.
Autism.
Why?
I could teach him something, and like I
That's
come
the
back a year
pro.
later, and he's like, oh, we worked on this, and this last time. And
So
I'm like,
I guess he would be a black belt as far as knowledge rolling with you guys, but as far as competition goes, is he executing it in against other guys besides you guys?
He doesn't compete. He has no aspirations. To
No,
compete.
he means in training, like sparring.
Like does
guys.
he go against other like purple belts, brown belts?
So we train.
No, he doesn't even do that. No. Here's the answer. Spoiler. He doesn't even do that. Brendan goes, oh, so is he using that on people? Like, is he able to execute moves on people his same skill level then? His same belt level then? Since you know what I mean? You're claiming he could do that to 42-year-olds or some shit like that? And then Gordon goes, no, he has no desire to compete in tournaments. Joe goes, no, not compete in tournaments, just like training with guys in the gym. Listen to what Gordon has to say.
He trains with the guys who he comes in to train him, so he doesn't have like a lot of looks. Like
Yeah.
For those who don't know, the people who he brings in to train him: Glover Teixeira, Mikey Musumeci, Gordon, Leota Machida, Jake Shields. So these are his training partners. Okay, this is the extent to where Derek Moneyberg trains. And he's going to say, oh, I only want to train with the best. Okay. All right. You train with the best then.
Like he doesn't go to like a normal gym and train, which I think is something that's important to do just for your just personal journey in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But
Me and Gordon agree on something.
if he we just opened a new school. We just opened Kingsway, and we have a bunch of black belts who come from other schools. And
he goes against them
for the last 10 years. I'm used to being around like a shitty black belt. To me is like a guy I competed at a world level and I call my submission on. That's like my definition of a shitty black belt.
God damn.
But there's levels.
When you
there's
actually
levels.
go to a gym and you see like what your average black belt is, that it kind of brings you back to reality, and you're like, oh, this is what most black belts are. Like if Derek rolled with like a regular black belt in a gym, he'd do fine.
Maybe, right? Because he's not doing it. It's like when Brian told me he's really good at tennis, and I said, are you paying the instructor?
True. This is the same thing as promoting and selling a fight. It's like saying, oh yeah, if I were to fight so-and-so, I win. But how many times do you see somebody say they would beat somebody in a fight, and then they go ahead and get locked in the cage, and that doesn't happen? So until we can see that Money Bird can beat a 40-year-old, we don't need Gordon to tell us that he is. And just because Gordon believes he can, doesn't mean he can. It doesn't mean he can. Not even if Derek Moneyberg believes he can, it doesn't mean he can. Go in there and show us. And the other thing, talking about, oh, when I go to other gyms, I don't like, black belts. It kind of brings my expectation back down to reality because I think you're a bad black belt if I can call a submission on you. So that's the level of Gordon's standards. And then he gives the exact opposite and says when he goes into gyms, he realizes that I guess he's trying to say black belts are on the same level as Moneyberg. Listen, those black belts that you're talking about who level your expectations back down to reality, here's the difference. They trained for 10 fucking years, bro. 10 fucking years. They put in the time. This is partly being a black belt, right? Not that you can beat everybody, because that is one thing. Not that you can beat everybody, but do you know all the moves? Do you know all the moves? Do you know what to do? Do you have a black belt level knowledge of the sport, right? And can you execute it to some degree? Especially on blue belts and white belts and shit like that. Can you do that? If you can't do that, which fucking Moneyberg can't, okay, then you're not a real black belt. So black belt has two meanings. The guys who get the black belt through time, sure, they're not the best in the world, but they know a lot of stuff. They know a lot of techniques. Moneyberg doesn't have both. He's not either nor skilled, nor does he compete, nor can he teach techniques, nor does he know a lot of techniques. Does Moneyberg know spider guard? Does Moneyberg know like the fucking Berimbolo techniques? Does Derek Moneyberg know the honey hole and like all these different like little variances when it comes to leg locks and ankle locks? I'm just saying, heel hooks, like, do you know the different places you can go, the names of these positions? That's somewhat of a black belt knowledge. How many sweeps do you have from bottom? Can you teach maybe 2 or 3 sweeps, maybe 3 or 4 sweeps from bottom? So this needs to be said because Gordon's making it seem like, oh, you can't get a black belt if these black belts suck anyway. Nah, bro, they know a lot more than what you're leading on just to make your point that Moneyberg is like a decent black belt. You're bad for the sport, Gordon. And it's crazy because of how talented you are, yet how clueless you can be.
goes,
say I was
yes.
really good at tennis.
But like I
You know what
train-
I'm saying? Like, if you're
I
paying
train-
the guy.
I train with normal black belts at the gym, and I train with Derek when I go there. Like I'm telling you, he would do fine against a normal black belt.
Well, then that's what it is.
like-
yeah, you would know.
Like he's not gonna go out and win worlds, but like if he had to compete against like an average black belt who's been doing jiu-jitsu for 10 years and he does it for an hour at a random gym in Kentucky, like
He would hold his own.
like he would probably beat him up, to be honest.
Wayne McCulloch said about me on a radio station.
I like how he brought it back to you.
No, I'm going to tell you because to his point, Wayne McCulloch goes, I put Brian in. I laugh even saying it. He goes, I put Brian in the ring with anybody. Meanwhile, even a remotely good amateur would knock me the fuck out right
It's
away.
not just that. Being in the ring with anybody doesn't mean anything. It means once you watch you get punched.
Also, I never
I'll put
you get
Brian in the
knocked
ring
out.
with Mike
Yeah.
Tyson.
Also, I would spar with these guys. If they were good, they would take it easy and they'd move around with
Yeah.
a 48-year-old actor.
Like he's
comedian.
like he's a 42-year-old hobbyist who's worth $100 million and focuses on making money.
Yeah.
And also trains 4 hours a day.
He sounds awesome.
if you're disciplined,
sounds
Everyone, everyone's giving him shit because he used it to market himself and was like, "You're too fucking stupid to get a black belt in 3.5 years," and I'm not. That's why everyone's upset about him.
Well,
but he
here's
does.
the
He does
thing.
train hard every day.
it's a great idea because I had no idea he existed, and now I'm defending him. Right?
Yeah.
I've defended him
Yeah.
based on what you
Who
said.
is
and
this
I
guy? I
defended
don't
him
even know
based
who
on-
he is.
Actually, he's here right now. He
And you, sir, are making yourself look like an idiot. So keep on defending him. Keep on defending him right there. I see your little perky lips right there, Joe. Keep on defending him with your little perky lips.
he did the 10:30.
Paul Craig just retired.
Good for him.
Yeah,
for him,
that's
man.
enough. I
Good
mean,
for him,
that
man.
guy's been KO'd.
He's
age.
And by the way, has a triangle so tight, it's so down, whipped up
Vaccine the day before.
Like, okay, what's going on?
3.5. But you're
You can see why some people.
Had the COVID vaccine the day before. That's what's incredible. about it.
he had all of them.
But Gordon, you can see why some people, if a guy gets his black belt in 2 years, you're like, okay, what's going on?
3.5. But you're right.
Look at Joe. 3.5.
You're
Which is
right.
faster
but,
than BJ Penn.
But how
There we go. BJ Penn levels. Thank you.
much did he really train? So like this is the idea that we always say. This is what I always say with, like, when people talk about Jake Paul. They say, "Oh, Jake Paul is fucking YouTubers." This and that. I go, push all that away. Yes, but that doesn't mean he can't be good at something.
Right.
Like, and also the kid was a wrestler in high school and college, legitimate athlete. Like, if I watched him knock out Tyron Woodley, just watched him, I'd say that kid's a prospect. He's fun, he's exciting, he's young, he's got one punch, go to sleep power.
Yes, if,
Anderson
if he
Silva.
didn't have all that baggage. But
But that's the baggage
Chavez
that's
Jr.
psychological. You look at him like he's the YouTube guy.
Yeah,
so
but-
a rich guy, like a Moneybird guy or a Zuckerberg, you say, oh, he can fuck that guy. But if he's got discipline and he can hire the best trainers, if he really does it,
And he does have
and
discipline.
he's tough, if he's
Yes.
actually
like
mentally
he's
tough.
here today. He's in Austin. He did the 10:30 to 12 class, and then he's taking 3 2-hour privates with Giancarlo, Luke, and Marigali.
That's
back to back.
legit.
So
That's
he's
legit.
training
That's what I'm
from
saying.
10:30 until like 7 o'clock
Like,
at night
you
tonight.
can't knock just that.
And he's also
alone.
been really successful in something else.
Joe's the type of guy who, like, people tell him they make $1 million and Joe just listens to them. Crazy work, Joe. Crazy work. I can't even, like, go in on you because you just come off so, like, naive and shit, bro. But for real, when you talk about Mark Zuckerberg and shit like that and working hard, listen, Mark Zuckerberg can work as hard as he fucking wants. So can Moneyberg. You know, I'll run them back to back. And I haven't trained in, like, 2 fucking years. I've probably done 2 jiu-jitsu classes in 2 years. And again, work as hard as you want, bro, but stop trying to cheat the system. You know what I mean? Like, come in and do your thing. But like, oh, because I worked harder, because I did more hours, I deserve it faster. Nah, bro. That
He
ain't it.
applies that
Right.
discipline to that.
Exactly.
Sure.
And not only that.
You guys stop being so fixated on your belts. You know, Moneyberg and shit like that. You stop being so fixated on your belt. Just train. Belts don't matter, right? Just train. Why do you need to be a black belt? It doesn't matter, right? Just train. But
Sure.
A workload. If he's doing that many hours and he's doing it every day,
It's a lot.
this is the Gordon Ryan method, right? Your method has always been not just study harder than everybody else, but you don't take days off. That's a
Gordon hasn't trained like this in years. Joe's stuck in 2023, 2022. Gordon hasn't trained like this in
Giant
years.
factor.
Yeah.
It's a giant factor. I talk about him all the time because that training 365 days a year.
You wouldn't take
is
one day off?
kind of nuts.
No.
No. No days off.
I mean, if I'm sick or I have staph or my legs hurt, I can watch. But I'm always there thinking about the sport.
But Joe, but my thing with Jake Paul is take all that baggage away. You would still, if boxing had a belt class system, you would still say Jake is a blue belt with his experience. You wouldn't say he's a black belt. He's not a master of the sport, even though he's dedicated to whatever the last 4 or 5 years.
But this goes back to my original point, which is just belts are just fucking
yeah,
meaningless.
this belt thing.
Like blue belts can beat up black belts now.
So let's not discuss belts anymore, guys, because it's pointless. Because Moneybird got a black belt. This is what it is. This is the truth. Moneybird got a black belt, so he fucked up the whole game. This is the truth. It seems like what Gordon's saying. Moneybird got a black belt. He fucked up the whole game. So fuck it. Who cares? There's blue belts who can beat him up. Yes, it's true. So like, let's just stop putting weight on it. He got given a black belt, but it's fake. That's what him and Joe are saying right now. Listen to Joe. He says, yeah, let's just stop worrying about the belts. Yes, I know, Joe. I know. I'm a blue belt. In the gi. And yes, I've competed in tournaments before, because that's what you got to do. If you want to fucking get a blue belt sooner than the rest, you better have competed. You can't get a blue belt within a year if you don't compete. I'll tell you that right now. At least once. We got to rewind to just one quick thing, because Joe's basically agreeing with Gordon. The belts don't matter because Derek Moneybird got one, and blue belts can beat him now, technically, right? Since Moneybird's a black belt, now blue belts can beat black belts. So let's not focus on that, because yeah, it is.
Yeah, I don't.
Meaningless.
This belt thing.
Like blue belts can beat up black belts now.
Yeah, I don't.
They
certainly can if they're strong and they're fast and they got tight technique, and the black belt's got a.
So it's like
if it's a really good black belt.
See what I mean, though? And the black belt's got a bad neck. Like, Joe's realizing as he's speaking, like, oh, damn, am I about to co-sign Gordon saying that blue belts can beat black belts? Like, Joe's just going to agree with anything he has to say. My opinion doesn't mean much as a blue belt. What are you, James Barnett? Please tell me, so we can justify your opinion.
The gym I came from, there was no blue belts, no black belts. I don't know what the fuck we're talking about.
Would I get a black belt in 3.5 years? No, but I also don't have.
And here's Brendan saying, in the gym I came up in, blue belts aren't beating black belts. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. The gym I came up in, that shit didn't happen either. I didn't see too many blue belts beating black belts. You might see a fucking brown belt competing up at the black belt level. But I mean, even like a Kron Gracie, right, at the brown belt level. But this is all about perspective. Even Kron Gracie at the black belt level, okay, or brown belt level, when he moved up to black belt, it was still difficult for him. It's like jiu-jitsu is getting judged on a sliding scale. You know, as far as, okay, so we're going to judge Kron Gracie based off of competing against black belts at the world championship level, right? So he can't get his black belt too soon because he's not as good as these black belts on a world championship level. But if you're a hobbyist, then you can get your black belt soon because we're not going to grade you on that scale. Got my black belt in 2017 from Compredo. Maybe you are right. Okay, James. James, I mean, to tell me I shouldn't have an opinion as a blue belt is crazy work, brother. I mean, like, you be doing that to all the black belts in your gym, treating them like that? You feel me?
Any black belts. Like, my standard for a black belt is like so unrealistically high that I don't have a black belt.
Have you not given a black belt?
No.
Eddie had this kid.
Because Gordon comes from the same thing I'm saying, where it's like, you judge black belts, if you're going to give it to him quick, bro, and I'm going to stop going over this because it's so fucking retarded to keep saying. If you're going to give it to him quick, you judge him on the scale of the top level black belt, brown belt, blue belt competitions. They go out and compete. They win. You fucking promote them. That's how you earn it quickly. If you don't get that shit, then you're not graded on that scale, and it takes you 10 years. But here's Gordon trying to like mix it in and be like, nah, like he doesn't compete, so we're not going to grade him on that scale. And then we're also going to grade him on a scale of like the black belts who took 10 years. We're also going to take the worst ones of that category and then compare it to fucking Moneyberg. For every black belt who's trained for 10 years, right, that Moneyberg can beat, there's 30 that would beat Moneyberg. Okay? For every black belt that Moneyberg can beat who just got it based off of time, right, no competition experience, just off of time and tenure, for every one that Moneyberg can beat, there's about fucking 30 he can't beat. 10 years, then you can have an opinion. James, you sound like a retard, brother.
I don't have any.
Wow. Eddie had this kid that was a Division I wrestler. I wish I could remember his name because he was a fucking nightmare. Every time I roll, it was so ridiculous.
And for the record, James, let's see then. Since you're such an elitist, right? Nicky Rod hasn't even been training for 10 years. All right? Nicky Rod hasn't even been training for 10 years. So based off your metrics, he can't have an opinion. Honestly, brother, I need to see your black belt and shit, cuz you're making me doubt you.
Ridiculous. Sure. We would do neon belly drills, and you start with neon belly, and this dude would throw me off him like I was a pillow, and then when he would get on top of me, knee on my belly, I was going nowhere. I was stuck.
That's because
we're the same size. We're the same size.
Yeah.
He was crazy fucking strong.
Yeah.
Now that guy was a blue belt.
Wow.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, he was just a elite wrestler.
Sure.
Who you just show him a few of these things, and he already knows how to move his body and control people.
But he doesn't know how to do an omoplata or a proper armbar.
He didn't. He's terrible off his back.
Yeah, he's good at
not
control.
a black belt.
But he's also been,
But the thing is,
wrestling.
he could fuck black belts up.
Yeah.
He could, because he could pass your guard. He would smush you. He would guillotine
But he was a
you.
D1 wrestler, right?
He was a D1 wrestler who was jacked.
Yeah.
He had this powerlifting routine.
So Joe's just going to go off a weird tangent now, but one last response to James Barrett. Let me know this. What is it exactly, right, that you think I shouldn't have an opinion on? How quickly somebody can have a black belt? You think that even if I didn't train, right, even if I didn't train, you think that somebody should not have an opinion on when somebody can get a black belt? Like, just listen to yourself. The fact that I have trained for multiple years, the fact that I have even progressed in a belt, right, should tell you that I have more than enough experience to have an opinion on the matter.
That he would do, he would not skip powerlifting workouts. He's like, it's the most important part of my game. It was all clean,
Just all power.
And that's
D1 guys come into the academy and they get fucking smoked.
That can happen too. But this kid was
that's
training.
how it goes.
But he was training
Yeah,
for a
and
couple
there's
of
been
years.
blue belts or purple belts that come in and get fucking starched, man. It takes a long time to learn.
And
But I'm saying,
Jason Nolf went and competed at CJI, and he got starched by other black belts. Okay? A D1 NCAA champion in wrestling multiple time came over to the sport, gave it his best shot, humbly, right? Entered CJI, and he lost to the black belts dominantly. It's classic for a fucking NCAA champ to go into a jiu-jitsu gym and they can't even get past the purple and the blue belts.
Is that this guy loved MMA.
Yeah.
He was a elite wrestler.
Sure.
And he was 2 years into jiu-jitsu, but he was a blue belt. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So he's a blue belt, but
years of experience
you're in
on a mat.
fucking trouble.
I just gave Jason Nolf his blue belt. And Jason Nolf was like having matches with like Renato Canuto. Like he's like having like he had matches with like Tyra Tolo. Like he's having like competitive matches.
And did
with,
you
like,
give him his blue because of experience?
Well, he's like a world class wrestler.
Yes.
Like
That's such a factor.
He's like American wrestling legend.
Do you? I think this is. I've always said this, but I say it again. That's the best base.
100%.
If you could dictate where the
Wrestling.
fight takes place, that's the most important thing.
Look at
Okay, so we're going to get off of this topic now. We have a couple more, though. Joe Rogan is just like, man, we got to get rid of this guy. He's terrible for the sport. Okay, let's do the John Jones thing real quick. me see here. One second. John Jones is trying to be relevant, so we need to go over this.
Are you retired?
Hang on.
Are you retired?
Here it is.
Are you retired?
Wait, let me find it on. Damn. For sure, Soda Pop. I gotta fix that. That's why I haven't been using this mic, bro. I'm gonna switch it right now. Okay, that should be better now. I'm just trying to find this person's Instagram real quick. Let me see. Denise White _ EAG. One second, I gotta fix the desktop audio. Why isn't it playing? So that's playing. Okay, let's just go this one. So apparently the story behind this, John Jones, this isn't even like this is like making it seem like John Jones is getting asked a question on the red carpet, right? But truth be told, John Jones's manager or publicist, they just stepped on the side, went in front of the little graphic here, and they're just creating their own news. So basically what I'm saying here is this is John Jones trying to stay relevant after retiring, then unretiring, and Ariel Helwani's the one who revealed this. See on the AH show that this is John Jones's publicist. So it's low-key kind of like goofy. Like nobody's really asking him shit, but he's trying to spin out a narrative. He went and got dressed and all this stuff to go out here and make it seem like, there's a draw and attraction for him when really there's not.
Are you retired?
I am not retired. I'm actively training 5 days a week.
And can I be so bold as to say something? And this is going to come across as a little bit harsh, but I just hear a collective "we don't care" from the audience. Do you not feel that way?
Okay, I guess. Yeah, we're not going to scroll through all this. This guy posts so much shit. Here's the full clip.
First and foremost, are you retired?
I am not retired. I'm actively training 5 days a week, and I'm in the UFC's drug testing pool.
Great. And what's the status of the fight at the White House?
I don't really know. It's kind of out of my control right now. I'm training for the event. I'll be ready for the event. That's my goal. That's my intention. But ultimately, it's up to the boss.
First and foremost, are you retired?
I am not retired. I'm actively training 5 days a week.
Now, there's not much more to be made off of this other than the fact that I'm of the opinion. Soda Pop says he's zesty. Wait, can we just hang on?
And I'm in the UFC's drug testing pool.
Soda Pop, I'm just curious, is it the glasses or is it this smirk? If you were to say what made you think that he was zesty in this video, would you say it's the glasses? God damn, these are some big ass glasses. Or the smirk? Or is it both? That's like an outfit James Brown would wear. Looks like Cowboy Cerrone.
Great. And what's the status of the fight at the White House?
I don't really know. It's kind of out of my control right now. I'm training for the event. I'll be ready for the event. That's my goal. That's my intention. But ultimately, it's up to the boss.
I was going to say, or is it the voice? It's a little bit of a voice too, right? Let's hear it one more time.
First and foremost, are you retired?
I am not retired. I'm actively training 5 days a week, and I'm in the UFC's drug testing pool.
Great. And what's the status of the fight at the White House?
I don't really know. It's kind of out of my control right now. I'm training for the event. I'll be ready for the event. That's my goal. That's my intention. But ultimately, it's up to the boss.
John Jones, my guy. Yo, what up, Scott? And he's dragging when he speaks, like zesty people do. I'm not gonna lie, John. I'm gonna hold it to myself, but a lot of people are saying that John, coming out of the closet here. Okay, let's get into a couple more things. I told you, boys, we got a long stream today. I got a lot of topics for you guys. So let's get into it. Ain't nothing wrong with it. All you gotta do is, I guess just come out. Zesty means gay, James, yes. Darren Till may be inappropriate for some users. Wow.
Andrew Tate definitely is interesting.
So this is mostly just what I want to see. Let's see at the 8-minute mark. Scott Snyder, he definitely has some sugar in his tank. Damn. Am I doing a live commentary for Contender Series? Yeah, I think I'm gonna do like the first hour. I think I'll do the first hour of Contender Series. We'll lead right into that. We'll just stay on stream. Darren Till says, okay, let's just watch this though. And I know DWCS starts in 8 minutes, but we got probably like 16 minutes for the first fight to start.
I think I'm referring to.
Okay, there's a few options. The first thing that came to mind was Top G, Andrew Tate, because he refers to himself as Top G. Is that him?
Well, yeah. So in my eyes, this is how I see things, Ariel. If you're gonna go around referring to yourself as the Top G, the alpha of all alphas, then I obviously, I don't want to take that title off you because I don't think I'm the Top G, because if Tom Aspinall was to walk in this room now and told me to fucking sit down and shut up, I'm going to sit down and shut up. But yeah, I'm an alpha. I can fight most people out there. I wouldn't certainly go around calling myself Top G and, the big ladies, man, this, that, the other, I'm a one-woman guy. Like, I'm not one of these guys out there trying to impress girls with money and this, that. I'm actually very humble, Ariel. I think, I don't give a fuck about doing these interviews, and I don't give a fuck about... obviously fame and that. It does go higher and people appreciate. But I live a simple life, and so for me, if he's the Top G, he's definitely not going to decline a fight with me, as he's going to come in and show me why he's the Top G. So Top Mong, Top Alpha. I'm certainly expecting him to accept the fight with me real soon.
And by the way, I do take a bit of offense to you saying you don't care about the interviews. I thought you actually enjoyed them to a degree.
No, I really care about speaking to you. We have good in-depth conversations, and I obviously have always said I'm a fan of the way you do things. Look, some guys along the way, sometimes they do get offended by the things you do and say, and you are very, you're very, picking side. It's just Dana's not going to be coming over to me for Christmas. He's not going to. Obviously, he's a businessman and a promoter. He's one of the best, and he's blah blah blah, etc. etc.
Oh no, I know. I mean, I've been on the receiving end of when you are offended, and it's not very fun. Going back to the Top G.
Let me say this. I think Darren Till is going to fight Andrew Tate this December. Okay, I mean, I'm getting sick of sitting through this interview. I might just skip through this whole thing because they're fucking taking a long time to get to it. But Darren Till is going to fight Andrew Tate in December. That's my prediction. In Misfits. Hopefully they can get to it fucking soon.
I reported that they're in advanced talks, and it seems like it's going to happen. I can't see any scenario, Darren, where this guy who claims to have this big ego, who in reality I think has a very fragile ego, would ever sign up for a fight against someone like you. He's going to want a tomato can. He's going to want a cupcake to show everyone that he's an alpha. Why would he sign up against you? Do you think otherwise?
I definitely do think otherwise, but again, I don't go around calling myself the Top J. I don't try to... I don't try to belittle women. I have 4 daughters, so I'm like, I have 4 daughters and a beautiful girlfriend, and I have many girls that I look up to and respect. For me, women are the power. They bring life into this world. So I'm girl power. So like, I don't need to demasculate women for my own ego and sense of alpha. Like, I think as a man, we're providers and stuff like that. And if your woman wants to work and stuff like that, albeit support you and whatever, but at the end of the day, you have the final say as an alpha, but you also listen to your woman and you listen to your... My daughters are essentially going to grow up and be, at one point, treated like shit like men. That's just the way of life. So, all this ego bollocks and that, it's just not for me. Obviously, all of us out here in this life, whether you're a man, do you not think, but, any man that calls... But I'm just a different kind of... But I'm willing to go all the way, like, all the fucking calm down on him a little, because as I said, I was not stopping with Luke, and I could see he was intimidated whenever he wants. But to me, you didn't get in the ring and face off him.
Misfits is trying to get done. Do they want to make this fight happen for you?
Yeah, I think all parties do. Andrew Tate definitely is interested, or he wouldn't have tweeted me back. Misfits are interested. My management are interested. His management potentially. It's looking like a fight that's going to be made before the end of the year in a great location, and in a obviously he's in my eyes he's probably one of the most famous people on the planet. Certainly the most Googled, well bigger name than Jake Paul and stuff like that. So for me, it's huge.
Wow.
It's money. It's money changing. It's life changing with money as well. You fight Andrew Tate. You don't have to think about working again. And obviously, the money's obviously tasty for him as well. So it's definitely it's. I'd say at the moment a 75% made fight. From
75% made fight. Darren Till versus Andrew Tate in Misfits in December. Like Darren just said, bro, this fight right here, I think it's a big fight. I think there's big magnitude to it. I can already see it. I can already see the promotion. Darren Till wants to get that life-changing money. Andrew probably wants to make a big bag after all these lawsuits and shit like that. Capitalize on his name and his fighting career one more time. Darren Till saying 75% done. A lot of people say a lot of things in this sport. You got to decipher through the bullshit. This is one I'm going to put some of my interest behind. And I think it's an investment that will pay off in December. Meaning, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to give it the coverage. As long as Darren and Andrew Tate continue to promote this fight, I'm going to give it the coverage because I believe it will happen in December. I like this fight more than I like Floyd Mayweather versus Mike Tyson. So 75% done. Him versus Andrew Tate. They all want it. We want it.
What I'm hearing as well.
Where would it take place?
Not in England anyway.
Okay. Middle East? Okay.
We'll see.
What happened with Carl Froch? You called him out.
Okay, one more thing as far as this segment goes. Let me see. Somewhere around here.
Across a little bit rapey, some of the things he says. Like obviously you don't want to meet a girl and she's been around across a little, stuff. I'm not very strange,
The women out there. You don't like
sometimes they don't get enough credit for that.
Is that the issue with Tate? You don't like the way he treats women, and you're doing this for all the women out there.
No, because I think Tate does have a lot of points with women, but he also has a lot of very strange points. Like he's talking about you get a girl, you got to get her young and stuff. I'm not a big fan. Like obviously, if you meet a woman and 25, close to 30s, she's been in a past relationship, as long as she's carried herself well and stuff like that. Like, what is she? Is she just meant to live in a box and not have a boyfriend until she meets you? If you meet your girlfriend when you're both young like that, that's fine. But it does come across a little bit rapey, some of the things he says. Like, obviously, you don't want to meet a girl and she's been around the town and stuff like that. I get that, what he's saying, because, it's different with women and men. I don't want to be too much of a, what you could call him, misogynist or something like that. But it's just even as other views, it's all alpha. I'm top G, top D, top J. It's like, you are top G, but if you came around me and my friends in Liverpool, we just absolutely terrorise you. You just get told to sit in the corner and shut up, and you'd have to. You'd have to sit in the corner and shut up, or you just get slapped up. You just get slapped up completely, just an open palm slap to the cross of his face, his face. What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do against someone like me? Really?
Yeah.
He can fight, but what's he gonna do against me if I turn on him? Like, tell me what he's gonna do. I'll whip his leg up, take him down, and just again with Carl, strangulate the life out of him. So.
Can he really fight though? Has he ever fought anyone on your level?
I think Tate can fight. I don't think he's no dickhead. I think he can definitely fight. But again, there is certain levels.
I did see that tweet. He said, "I've got a lot of experience in beating up Scousers. I smashed 2 of them to pieces in Playground on New Year's Eve 2017."
He most probably did, yeah. Playground was a famous club in Liverpool years ago. He took two civilians as a steel bar smashed over his head and get told to shut up. I'm just fucking waiting.
If this is happening.
I'm sitting in the corner, but, that's it.
When do you expect us to know if this is happening?
This is it.
I'm just fucking waiting.
Okay.
I'm bored. if I wait any longer, I'll probably end up on the booze,
No.
fucking my life up. So, hurry up.
You're in tremendous shape. Stick to that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Are you sticking with?
I'm sticking with it. My woman keeps me. I love living life.
If we thought it would turn out this way, town. It's.
Not a lot of people like that shit.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much. Congratulations.
So I figured it was worth sharing with you guys. Darren Till said this to Ariel, and then there were some tweets too. So let's just go into the tweets real quick. All right, here it is. While I go piss real quick, I gotta go take a piss. Okay. Just to finish this Darren Till topic with Andrew Tate, Darren goes, truth be told, I don't think I'm a better boxer than some of the individuals I've been calling out. I just know I'm smarter, stronger, and more powerful to beat them. And I have the will more than them to win. Right now, as it stands, the conversations are as follows. Carl Frotz is just messing around. He doesn't actually want to fight. He can have 2 ringside tickets to my next fight because I am not chasing that anymore with no give back from him. Tommy Fury simply doesn't want the fight against me. It's a lot for him on the line in his own eyes and his family's. They don't want the embarrassment. That leaves Andrew Tate, and I don't think he deep down wants it. I think he will have a few warm-up fights before me. The only other options right now are Mike Perry and George Masvidal, which I both have history with. The fight can take place here or America. I do not mind. I am back into training in a week or two, and I will be ready for December. Fuck everyone and fuck everyone else. Fuck them all. Get fucked, everyone. So here, Darren's saying it might actually not be Andrew Tate. It might be Mike Perry or Gamebred George Masvidal in December. Then Andrew goes, I've got a lot of experience in beating up Scousers. I smashed 2 of them to pieces in Playground on New Year's Eve 2017, then fucked some girl in the Hilton. She's probably accused me of human trafficking somewhere. Darren replies, that's a really cool story, mate. Are we fighting or not? My team have already reached out to your team. I just want to know if the top G alpha of all alphas is game. Simple. Get back to me ASAP, my G. And then Mike Perry chimes in, why did you have to end it that way? Seems you still spiral. Get a grip, Darren. Save yourself. Darren, I've spoken to your manager. They do not want the fight either, you little scrotum. Did Darren, or what's his name, Andrew Tate respond to this? I guess he didn't. But from the clip that I showed you earlier on Ariel's podcast with Darren Till, Andrew Tate did respond to it. Let me find it. Maybe it's on the replies.
Big ego, who in
Here
reality,
Here it is. Andrew Tate responded to, what's his name, Darren Till's call out on Ariel's show, and he said, Darren, I think you're hilarious. Always enjoyed your antics and humor. Also seen your career and respect it. You are well liked in my circles. The fight would be great. I understand fighting me is life-changing money for you, not me, but there's no need for name calling. I really don't like all that clown shit and being rude, etc. We're both professionals here. I find it rude, and if that's the way you're trying to get the fight, it won't happen. I'm the superstar here. Talk nicely, and I'll reply to your team's desperate messages. So Tate responded to Darren, you know, talking about that womanizing shit and the top G kind of like shit. So
I think has a very fragile ego, would ever sign up for a fight against someone like you. He's going to want a tomato can. Why would he sign up against you? Do you think otherwise?
I definitely do think otherwise, but again, I don't go around calling myself the top J. I don't try to, you know, I don't try to belittle women. I have 4 daughters, so I'm like, you know, I have 4 daughters and a beautiful girlfriend, and you know, I have many girls that I look up to and respect. You know, for me, women are the power. They bring life into this world. So I'm girl power. So like, I don't need to demasculate women for my own ego and sense of alpha. You know, like I think as a man, you know, we're providers and stuff like that. And if your woman wants to work and stuff like that, albeit, you know, support you and whatever, but, you know, at the end of the day, you have the final say as an alpha. My daughters are essentially going to grow up and be, at one point, treated like shit like men. That's just the way of life. So all this ego bollocks and that, it's just not for me. Obviously, all of us out here in this life, whether you're a man or woman, we have egos. That's just life. But when do you put your ego aside? When do you not think you're the big boy? There's a lot of views I agree with Andrew Tate, but you know, any man that calls him the top G and top alpha, he's obviously going to come and have to prove it like me. But I'm just a different kind of man. He's a very intelligent, like high IQ guy, that's for sure. But his ego is what will hurt him if he ever comes up against me on the mic, at the presser. I'm willing to go all the way.
One more thing about Andrew. Is this an active thing that Misfits is trying to get done? Do they want to make this fight happen for you?
Yeah, I think all parties do. Andrew Tate definitely is interested, or he wouldn't have tweeted me back. Misfits are interested, my management are interested, his management potentially. It's looking like a fight that's going to be made before the end of the year in a great location. In my eyes, he's probably one of the most famous people on the planet. Certainly the most Googled, well bigger name than Jake Paul. And for me, it's huge. It's definitely, it's I'd say at the moment a 75% made fight from what I'm hearing as well.
final thoughts on this Darren Till, Andrew Tate topic. I think Andrew Tate responding is a good sign. I think Andrew Tate's likely trying to promote this fight. I think Andrew Tate's low-key trying to promote the fight, and that's why he's responding to Darren. And did Darren say anything too spicy? Honestly, no. Honestly, Darren didn't say anything too spicy. Listen, Andrew, we all know what you do. You can be edgy to get your views. Now, if somebody calls you on your edginess, right? He didn't call you all these weird names that other people do, right? He just said you're edgy and you act like you're the top G and a little bit of a toxic male. I think that's the nicest thing they can say about you. There's far worse they can say about you. So he didn't play into any of that stuff. So I think it's honestly chilling. Like, I think Tate will still take the fight. Darren's being fairly respectful about everything. And, Darren disagrees with Tate on some things, but he also, they see eye to eye with some other things. So Sodapod goes, no way this fight happens. LOL, Darren is insane. Not happening. Boys, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to disagree with you and say this fight is happening. Also, because I love to give a prediction, I'm going to say this. I forgot to say it about the John Jones situation, but as we all know, if you've been following this channel, I predicted John Jones, when he announced his retirement, he wasn't going to retire. He's coming out of retirement. It was fake. I also predicted when John Jones got his legal troubles with the latest case first revealed to the public, I'm the one who said nothing's going to happen to him. Don't even trip about it. What's going to happen to John Jones? Nothing. He's going to get off scot-free. What'd he do? He got off scot-free. Here's my latest prediction with John Jones. A little bit of a hindsight prediction, but we've all been wondering, why did John retire, then unretire, and now he looks desperate, calling out, the winner of basically Tom versus Cyril for the UFC White House card. This is my take now. John Jones retiring was all a play because he really wanted Tom Aspinall to fight Cyril Gane and put more miles on his clock. He wants Tom Aspinall to take a little bit more damage before he gets him because Tom Aspinall is way too fresh, way too hungry, way too in his prime right now. So in my opinion, John retired so that Tom versus Cyril could get announced, and then he can run the winner of that because that's what he's wanted this whole time. Tom versus Cyril to get booked, and then he'll fight the winner. And the UFC wasn't going to let that happen unless John relinquished the belt. So, meaning they weren't going to do it for another interim title fight. So John relinquished the belt, aka retired, and once he did that, he knew that the UFC was going to move forward with Cyril versus Tom. He gets his wish. Now he's back out of retirement, and he's next in line for the winner of that fight. That's just my opinion. That is just my opinion. Now we also have more stuff like we got fucking Brian Ortega and shit. He's unhealthy right now. We got SD Dumas with less than $20 in his bank account. We haven't even touched on these topics yet, and we're 2 hours in. But for right now, I guess I will pull up. I guess I'll pull up the Contender Series stream. If Gane beats Aspinall, Jones won't come back. No point. Only way is if Alex moves up. First fight starting. Okay, let me pull up Contender Series now. That is a weird one. Like if Cyril wins, does John Jones want to come back? I think that's one of the biggest questions that isn't actually being discussed. I think that's one of the biggest questions. Canelo or Crawford? I'm going Crawford. I'm going Crawford this weekend. Oh, that's why. Yeah, I'm going Crawford this weekend. Who you guys got? Crawford or Canelo? I better not be opening this up to two ladies fighting right now. Canelo, of course, and I'm Mexican. Oh, Crawford, of course, and I'm Mexican. Let's go, Soda Pop. Tyler Betts goes Canelo. Tyler Betts goes, I knew it. Tyler, how'd you know I'm going Crawford, Brody? Yeah, I'm going Crawford. Soda Pop's the only guy. Honestly, Soda Pop is the only fucking person who could have ever got me to sit here and fucking watch these women's fight. Oh my god, Soda Pop. How fucking dare you not warn me? First fight starting. Dana White Contender Series about to start. My brother forgets to tell me that fucking it's starting off with women and that we got a free 30 minutes to start. Two mean ladies. Is that kid Chase and Blair fighting on this card? I think he is, and I've watched Chase and Blair fight live. Scrap picked the Brazilian girl too. She was a underdog. Is the Brazilian girl the lighter one or the darker one? I'm gonna go with the lighter skin is a Brazilian. But Dyer and Ford, I mean, you can't even tell with those last names. Oh, perfect. Okay, so we got Chase and Blair up next. Sanchez. Here's my opinion, boys. I've watched Chase and Blair fight live. It looks like he is dropping down to lightweight. I think he's been fighting at welterweight for the longest time. Now, Chase and Blair, if you guys are familiar, he's the guy who fought Cody Steele, who Cody Steele knocked out to get into the UFC, right? We also saw what happened to Cody Steele in his UFC debut. He did not look good at all. Okay, so that fight. Okay, so Jason's always been a lightweight pretty much. He might need to drop down to featherweight though or something. I think he's undersized for the division. So basically, Jason has got one fight since Cody Steele last October. His opponent is 10-1. Chase and Blair 7-3. Blair really impressed you last year on short notice. Let's see what happens, but I think one of the biggest selling points for Blair right now is that Patty Pimblett co-signs him a lot because Patty, when he goes to San Diego, he trains there. That's where I watched him fight live in San Diego. In my opinion, there's a bigger prospect on the San Diego scene. His name, if you guys want to look him up, Anthony Orozco. He's an undefeated welterweight fighter out of San Diego. In my opinion, that is the guy coming out of San Diego right now with the highest potential out of anyone. Anthony Orozco, remember the name. So I'm not sure why Chase Blair is getting his second opportunity before Orozco. Chase Blair also 26 years old. He's very young. He doesn't need to be rushed up this quickly. He's 7-3. In my opinion, Chase and Blair getting pushed too soon. But maybe the UFC wants a prospect, young prospect. I would sign him when he's 28 and see what he could do up until that point. Problem is there's no money to be made for the next 2 years if he waits. So it's like he's probably wanting to get moved up. This guy Blair is fighting looks like a fraud. Soda Pop, I don't want to be rude, but a little bit. Yeah. Not a fraud, but I just don't think like, like some guys just it's you got to have a lot to make it at the UFC level, and I think Blair is a talented martial artist, right? I think he's a talented martial artist probably, and he does really good in the training room, but I think he's undersized for the division. I think he's underskilled. So let's see. What does the word San Diego actually mean? James, that might be the $1 million question of the day. I don't know, brother. San, like the maybe? Diego, maybe like the whatever a Diego is. Bro, Barrett got me flagged on Google. They think I'm a robot for asking such a question. San Diego means Saint Didacus, some guy. San, Spanish word for Saint Diego, derived from meaning great teacher. I'm here for Chase and Blair. Let's see what you can do. Soda Pop says, I'm really good at spotting frauds off records. This black girl screened fraud to me off record. Let's see. Let's see who's the fraud here. A lot of prospects that come out of Alaska are frauds. Going to Alaska to pad your record is the equivalent of going to Mexico to pad your record in boxing. Lorraine Douglas. All right, these girls are just, they thugging it out. They thugging it out. We just got to get through this fight. She's still in it. Yep. Dyer is still in it. Yeah, these girls are scrapping, boys. These girls are scrapping. Shout out to James for sticking around. Shout out to James for sticking around. For Contender Series. Let's go. We got lots of streams this weekend. We got fucking Canelo Crawford, Inoue, Noche UFC. Good shit. Round 3 coming up here for the ladies. Douglas is like the LFA Charles, where he was a shitter early on, but he had his redemption. Okay. Lorraine Douglas. He's the second to last fight, I believe, huh? Yep. We got some tattooed bandits in the main event. This Dyer's coming back, bro. This girl Dyer's coming back. I see her landing a lot of teep kicks from the outside, but she gets hit, she reacts a lot worse than Ford. They're comparing the Ford girl to Jessica Andrade. Ford is a little tank. We found our new Andrade. Yep, that's what they're calling her. It only takes one from Ford. Ooh, nasty body shot from Ford. Shout out our girl Ford. She got a little tummy in the front, but I kind of like it low key. When you see Ford at the right angle, you see her little tummy kind of like sticking out, but I kind of like it. It's been a pretty good fight. Shout out to Dyer too. She's taking a lot of punishment and she's trying to get off too. I like it. I can respect it. You know, I think sometimes when I watch women fight, I think they're tougher than men. It's just that 90% of women's fights, there's no damage ever accumulated. But in the rare instance where women can show off their mettle and their toughness, I mean, honestly, I think pound for pound, they take the cake over men. You rarely see a woman just give up and fold. Usually when a woman gives up, it's like really because she got fucked up. You see guys fucking fold and give up all the time in the UFC. All the time. It's the best compliment I could ever pay a female fighter. This is my first time watching Contender Series all season, so I wouldn't know. But James says it's been good, so let's see how Chase and Blair is. I'm going to stick around for Chase and Blair fight. Okay. Uh, Ford's turning it up now. Ford's turning it up. It's because women don't hit hard. That's why Angela Hill has found so much success in her career. She knows her opponents can't throw hard, so she just blitzes, no defense, and lands. She knows there's no danger. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But I noticed that like whenever women throw, like knockouts rarely occur. Like you see how these women are just throwing unlimited shit and like nothing's happening. I feel like Dyer definitely doesn't have any power or danger to her strikes. It's kind of clear as day. And then you got Ford, who's like the anomaly, where there is some power on her shots. But Soda Pop seems to like somewhat see what I've been seeing, which is women like a lot of times women just fucking go to a crazy decision. But I don't watch too many women's fights. Weight difference. One cuts weight, one doesn't cut weight. That's what happened here. You tell me who cuts weight and who doesn't. Less KOs at low weights versus heavier weights. Okay, and women are generally on the lighter weight scale, so that makes sense too. A little respect shown by the ladies. Oh, it's 4-0. I thought it was Ford. My bad. My bad, girl. I thought it was Ford. 4-0. All right, we got a scrap coming up next. One that I'm interested in seeing. No way Dana's given 2 contracts. No way. Let's see what Dana says. I missed him going in there. I'm going to say he won't give 2 contracts, just 1. Although he does need a lot of women fighters. They are under. They don't have that many. They're under-resourced when it comes to the women. Dang. Nasty power, though, from 4-0. And a little showboat from 4-0. I like it. I like this girl 4-0. Soda Pop's queen. Makes sense, Soda Pop. That's the GOAT translator right there. He's one of the best. For gonna be champ. Honestly, she's a good prospect. Time for Blair action. The guy that does Southeast Asian translation for one is the best. He's a nerd. This Samuel Sanchez guy who's fighting Chasen Blair hasn't fought anybody good. Best win is against a guy who's 17-5. Other than that, 7-7, 7-11, 10-6, 1-0, 4-18, 1-1. Lost to a guy who's 1-2, 1-1, 1-2, 0-1. Chasen Blair has fought way tougher competition. Oh and 0, 1 and 2, 2 and 0, 1 and 1, 9 and 3, 3 and 1, 9 and 7, 8 and 2, 6 and 0, 5 and 1, 10 and 1. I might have to rock with Chasen Blair here. Let's see what happens. This guy ain't no prospect though. That's my thing. This guy Samuel Sanchez ain't no prospect. If you're just now tapping into the stream, we have moved on to Dana White Contender Series commentary. So we're just calling the fights right now for Dana White Contender Series. And I'm going to dip out after this fight. I'm only going to watch this fight and then I'm going to dip. I got to go hit the gym. I got to hit the gym, boys. I got to hit the gym. I got to get the gains. You know how it goes. I love the fighters' backstories in this. That's one of my favorite things about Contender Series is learning about them through their story. I'm gonna go with Chase and Blair to get the win. This is one of the worst weeks on paper, by the way, but should still be fun. Love ya, Dana. Always putting on bangers. There was a 36-year-old Canadian last week on Contender Series. Did I see him? No, I didn't. He's friends with Sam Hyde, the creator of Fish Tank Live. Interesting. Love ya, Blair. Gonna take over the UFC, buddy. See, now I'm learning shit about Blair. Got into judo like before he was 10, he said. Got into wrestling when he was 10. Did karate when he was like 7 or some shit like that. So, I like it. Blair's been a fighter his whole life. Okay. He's also taken the hard road. I like how he bets on himself. He says, can't ask for anything else other than to put it all on the line for myself. So, let's see, Blair. We rooting for Blair over here. Shout out SoCal. Shout out SoCal. Shout out San Diego. We ain't gonna rock with the foreigner. They just pulled this guy out of somewhere. He ain't ready for it. I rarely say that. Let's see what happens, though. Watch this guy get a crazy win. Jason Blair on the walkout. Oh, Jason Blair's Filipino. It's probably white and Filipino. Gotta be. He looks a little bit more lean. He looks like confident, ready to go in here. Let's see it. Okay, so he wrestled at University of North Carolina. Guess he's not an All-American or anything, though. Soda Pop with a nice read on the Brazilian. I think Blair does have that dog in him, so let's see if you're right, Soda Pop. I'm leaning towards you being right. Shout out Wonder Boy's girl. Just walked by Blair. Blair's the underdog, but he'll look minus 900. We're going to maul him on the ground. I think we're going to maul this dude. Look at Chase and Blair. He ain't got no fear. He sees what you see, Soda Pop. Hopefully Blair has a sister for me. Soda Pop, I think Blair sees what you see. 26 versus 22. Oh, we know what's happening here. 5'10 versus 5'10. This guy's undersized. He's 154 coming in. Blair 156 coming in. Guys, we know what's about to happen here. Dang. I'm not from San Diego. I'm from Orange County, Southern Orange County. And I trained at, it's like Cobrina OC. That's like the most name brand way of saying it. There's a Cobrina affiliated gym out here, and I trained there. I don't know if you know Lercio Fernandez, but Lercio Fernandez was my professor. Lercio Fernandez was a big rival for the Mendez brothers from Art of Jiu-Jitsu. So, that's what I gotta say. Lercio certified. One of Cobrina's best black belts at the time when he was competing. I trained with like Lucas Lepre, Bruno Malfacine. All the guys came down to the gym when it was like Worlds and shit. Blair just has Sanchez's back right now. Let's go. Oof. Oof. This guy's got hands, though. Oh, my gosh. Oh. Oh. Soda Pop shit, bro. We were wrong. We were wrong. We were wrong. Pan Ams are an OC. There you go. Pan Ams. You're right. You're right. Pan Ams. Oh my gosh, bro. Blair just got killed. Dude, he's out bad. Bro, Blair's out bad. It was a right hook. It was a right hand or overhand right, bro. It was an overhand right. Oh my gosh, dude. Hey, this is why you can never judge a man. This is why you can never judge a book by its cover. I've been wrong, and I don't mind admitting I've been wrong more than once judging a book by its cover. The only true way of seeing shit is by judging film. Boom. Yeah, see, it was that right overhand right. And the knee, I think, opened it up. See that one? Body? That one right there. Shut him off. Shut him off. Yep. Look, I'll tell you the one that put him out. That one. That one. I don't know if it was delayed or like what's his name was out and homie just kept punching, bro, before he fucking sat his butt to the ground soon enough. Damn, Chase and Blair got fucked there. And this kid's young, 22 years old, beating a guy like Chase and Blair. You got to put respect on it. You got to put respect on this kid. Now you put respect on this kid right here. Sanchez, Blair is still down. He can't even answer the bell. Dang, bro. Good thing I stuck around for that one. Samuel Sanchez is for sure getting a contract, bro. For sure. That was some good shit, bro. I'm not going to lie to you. That was a better knockout and a better fight than what I've seen in a long time. Good boy, good stream. Jesus Christ, James. Homie dapping him up. Blair had fear. Or Blair didn't have enough fear and just walked into the fucking fire. Maybe Blair should have feared him more. I don't know. It's because Blair doesn't have hands. Blair doesn't have the hands. You saw early in the fight he was getting jabbed right off the bat. Blair's really got to work on his hands, bro. He may be great in jiu-jitsu, but he needs the hands. I'm talking like elite boxing hands. Let's see what he has to say. He's got some type of like rope he likes to hang around himself. I like it though. It's a gimmick. Fucked him up bad. All right, boys. Stream almost over. Make sure to like it if you haven't already. James, make sure you like that shit, homie. Is that an action figure on my shelf? Yeah, that's fucking, this is, Brawly. That's Brawly right there. Two undefeated guys fighting next. F the gym, buddy. Well, shit, if they fucking hurry this stuff up. Let me go put my gym stuff together right now while this is happening. But I gotta go in like 15. I'm probably gonna leave here 6:10 my time, so that's 16 minutes. Let me put my gym shit together. All right, I'm back. Damn, this blue shirt is popping on the camera. I feel like it's popping more on camera than it is in real life. We got like 10 minutes. And if this fight ends like how fucking the last one ended, I mean, I'm going to be able to see the whole fight, so let's see. New big prospect on a hand. Shout out, what's his name again? Soda Pop Santos or something? I rock the colored shirts. Honestly, I was gonna put on a white tee. I got a white version of this, but I was like, damn, a white tee to another white tee, fucking, they're gonna say something. And then he said something about this one, but I don't buy these. My mom fucking bought them for me. The blue shirts that I have not bought them, but fuck it, I just wear them. You rock the colored shirts, huh? That's too good. Something Sanchez, yeah. Something Sanchez. I would prefer like a navy blue. Like a darker blue, if I'm being real. I only wear white and black. I'm very simple. Hey, Soda Pop, that's literally me. I literally got like 12 white shirts and like 12 black shirts. All I wear is white and black. But then like, fucking I always get told not to wear that shit. He's worried we'll make fun of him, but his mom bought the shirt. Okay, what do I care? I bought the shirt. What's the big deal? I'm fucking wearing it, aren't I? I just want to know, could anybody other than myself or like an MMA guru do this on their live stream but me? Packable on live stream? I'll tell you what, if you work for MMA Fighting or MMA Junkie, you sure as hell can't. This would cost you your job. Let's see. Let's see. That is 420 Herbal. You want to see it? By the way, Soda Pop, I just wanted to say that that clip, shout out to you for telling me to speak on Tommy McMillan, because that clip's been blowing up over the last like day or two. We got 3 new subscribers off that clip, 15 hours of watch time. We got 400 views and counting, a little over 400. I fucking cooked on that thumbnail too, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I cooked on that thumbnail. Damn, poor guy. The homie James. What up, homie? If you're a black belt, you gotta be a stoner. Jiu-Jitsu, the most 420 friendly community in MMA. I'm probably not going to be able to see this. We only got 5 minutes. I knew it, James. I knew it. But hey, I gotta be a fucking 10-year veteran to have an opinion. Thank goodness gracious there was no introduction. Hell yeah, James. Finally, I got the pass. Thank you, James. Soda Pop goes, with Red De La Cruz, we never lose. Love you, girl. I'm gonna steal you from Wonder Boy soon. Too good, too good. Yeah, Vidal working on a takedown here. Or I guess Franco. Franco working on a takedown, sorry. James, 10 years isn't that long, but it is long at the same time. And, you know, there are quite a bit of people in Jiu-Jitsu who, yeah, they train for like a year or two and they probably shouldn't have an opinion. I feel you. But, you know, there are people who can't have an opinion after a couple years. It's a case-by-case basis. Let's put it like that. You got to test their knowledge and then be like, all right, you know something or you don't know something. Instant fucking grappling match as soon as it starts. Hey, and before I end the stream in like a minute, James, subscribe if you haven't already. I don't think you're subscribed. And whoever's in here watching, like the stream for me. That's all I ask. And if you haven't subscribed and you're not James, then make sure you subscribe. So Red Dude finally got the takedown, and his name is Franco. Hell yeah, James. Shout out to you. Oh, shit. I think Soda Pop's stream is ahead of mine. He, like, seems to know there was a knockout or something. Is there going to be a knockout before I have to turn off the stream? Peace out, Barrett. Have a good night, brother. Thanks for tuning in. I got one more minute. Dang, this guy's reacting brutally to these punches. Nasty. This is some brutal ground and pound. 17 seconds left. Crazy because Franco was the one trying to get the takedown, right? And then Vidal just hit him with the ugh. Dang. Big shots. All right, boys. Peace out. Peace out. See you tomorrow, 4 p.m. Perry Punch Show with my host, DJ MTK. We will react to a lot of good topics. Preview Noche UFC, Canelo Crawford. You already know the deal. Peace out, boys. I think Blue Shorts